Hey you guys, welcome back to my channel. It's Shell. So today's video we are going to be discussing blowouts versus wash and goes, and I'm going to basically be talking about the benefits and like the pros and cons to both of them. And so I've personally been getting blowouts for the past 3 years, and I've noticed a lot of benefits to blowing my hair out as far as like growth and retaining length. So first, let's get into the benefits of blowouts. Now, blowouts is going to help you see your ends a lot better than you keeping it curly. So when you blow your hair out, you can see if you have split ends, you can see if you have any gaps, breakage at the ends, and you can feel those knots a lot better. So fairy knots, or those are basically split ends and your ends being dry and your curls tangling within one another. So another benefit from blowing your hair out is the sebum production that our scalp naturally produces. So that sebum is there for a reason. So it's going to travel down our hair shaft a lot easier when our hair is blown out, and it's going to lubricate our strands. That is going to prevent a lot of those fairy knots that we get, and it's also going to prevent a lot of the split ends that we get. So that natural sebum, it really helps with protecting our hair from environmental stressors like pollution, the sun. So just having that extra layer of that oily substance on our hair is going to help protect our hair. When we keep our hair in its curly state, it's harder for that sebum to travel down because it has to go through a curl or a coil or a kink before it reaches the ends. Versus when it's blown out, our hair is smoothed out, it's straighter, and so that sebum can easily travel down. Another benefit that I've noticed from blowouts is that my hair is a lot easier to detangle. Now that does mean that my hair is loosening up its elasticity a little bit, not a lot though, just a little bit. And when it starts to loosen up, it's easier for you to detangle. Now for some people that can be a con. So if you don't want any alteration to your curls, then you don't want to do blowouts. But for me, I have tightly coily kinky hair, and I don't like to spend a lot of time detangling my hair, and it's not a noticeable loss in elasticity. Like when you start to lose a little bit of elasticity, it's not something that's super noticeable. Like me as a hairstylist, I notice, but a lot of people, when you do your hair at home, you may notice or you may not notice. It depends on if you're getting suppresses with it, or if you're not, then you're really not going to tell the difference in your curl pattern. Now what you don't want to do is blow dry your hair weekly. I found, because people used to ask me that a lot, and I really didn't know the answer. The only way I really can confidently give you guys answers to certain questions is if it's tried and true. So you guys know I'm a hairstylist, so if I see something going on with people's hair that they do in their routine, then that means it's been tested and it's tried and true. So blow drying your hair weekly, to me, that's too much. So I would say either do it bi-weekly or once a month or something like that if you are interested in doing blowouts. And then make sure you always use a ceramic blow dryer. And you can, the heat is dependent on your hair texture and your hair type, but you can use a ceramic iron, and don't do it every week, and don't meet the blow dryer with whatever tool you're using. So you don't want it too close to your hair, you want to have it a little farther away. Another thing I want to say is that I wish when I was going through certain periods and times in my life that I had someone explaining this to me, because I would much rather been doing blowouts versus struggling with my natural hair, being frustrated, taking hours to do it, and then still not coming out with a good style. So that's why I'm such an advocate for heat use, but in a healthy way. Because man, like if I would have had these tips back when I was on my natural hair journey, which I still am, but back when I was like super busy with my lifestyle, I wish I had these tips, because it would make my life so much easier. So the cons of blowing your hair out, I would say, is that if you are a person that prefers shrinkage, which I don't know too many people that like that, because blowing your hair out gives you an elongated look. So if you want to go into a braid out, a twist out, or anything like that, you can use a little bit of foam and style your hair in a braid or a twist, and then take it out the next day. That will give you an elongated look, but some people may like shorter shrinkage look. You get a little bit of a looser elasticity, What else? And then you can go into damaging your hair if you're doing it wrong. Like I said, if you're doing it once a week, if you're using like a titanium blow dryer, but your hair is like fine and low density, then you know, doing stuff like that can cause it to be damaged. But if you're not doing that, you're playing it safe, everything should be okay. Okay, so let's get into the benefits of wearing wash and goes. So wash and goes are a no tension hairstyle. So assuming you don't like do the banded method or the pineapple method, this style is no tension. So you're basically just styling your hair and going. Another benefit of wearing wash and goes, I feel like it's a very good representation for our younger generation. Instead of putting on a weave or a wig or even just having straight hair like me, like we need people who actually like the hairstyle to wear them more often and to like embrace the natural texture of our hair. Now for somebody like me, I have a round face, so I noticed that when I wear wash and goes, I'm not the most confident because it's not a good looking hairstyle on me. So, and I feel like that's okay, because we have people out there who do have the right face shape, who curls are beautiful, whether it's kinky, whether it's loose, whatever your curls look like. I feel like some people just really could rock a really nice wash and go and it looks amazing on them. But two more benefits to wash and goes is that I feel like they're not a lot of upkeep when you have the routine down pat. Now yes, there can be a lot of upkeep when you don't know what products you're using, when your hair is frizzy all the time. Yes, that plays a role. But when you got your routine down pat, only thing you got to do is take your bonnet off and shake your hair out, and you have a style that you can wear for the next 5 to 7 days, depending on how long your wash and goes last. Now another benefit is that you know, you don't have to deal with looser elasticity if that's not something that you want. People that get wash and goes typically have the best curl pattern. Now we're gonna get into the cons. So a lot of people that wear wash and goes typically leave their hair wet. Now this is a big debate, but I've seen the worst ends from people who wear wash and goes and leave their hair wet for long periods of time. Hair is weakest when it's wet. So when you go to manipulating hair while it's wet too much and you're letting it air dry, I typically ask people who have the worst ends, these two, it's usually between these two. It's, do you get braids or do you wear wash and goes? And it's 90% of the time it's one of the two. And so just leaving that hair wet creates dry, frizzy, damaged ends, and it typically has traveled up the hair shaft. What you want to do is you want to diffuse your hair, or you want to sit under a hooded dryer to set the style. The other thing I want to mention about leaving the hair wet is when you leave the hair wet, a lot of the time you are weakening the hair strands. And so a lot of people who wet their hair and pull it back into a ponytail and leave it like that without drying it, you risk the chance of getting that heat damage look. So people be like, well, I don't even use heat on my hair, but the curls in the front are so much more looser. It's because you're leaving your hair wet. Like I said, you want to set the style. You want to do something that's going to dry the hair. You don't want to keep wetting it and pulling it in one direction, because that is going to give you that heat damage look, especially if you go into putting heat on your hair. Like you get a suppress, you're like, oh, the stylist gave me heat damage. But in reality, your hair was already weak and fragile because you've been leaving it wet and manipulating it while it's wet. Blowouts, to me, in my opinion, are healthier than wash and goes. Now, if you're the type of person that loves your wash and goes, then disregard that. Like, just try to incorporate blowouts a little bit more in your routine if you are struggling with the ends of your hair, and making sure you follow the steps that are in this video, and making sure that you are using the proper tools and products, not just for wash and goes, but for your blowouts as well, if you don't want to damage your hair. I'll leave products and tools linked on this video so you can shop that if you are wanting to know what I use to keep my hair healthy and my clients' hair healthy. So make sure y'all stay tuned for that, and I'll see y'all in my next video. Bye.